So community rebuilds kind of got started. Our executive director, Emily Niehaus, saw this need here in Moab for affordable housing because Moab has, transitioned from being a mining type of economy to now it's a tourism-based economy. And so they've seen the vacancy rate in homes go from 5% in the early 2000s to now it's up to 30%, and the trends are just that it's going to keep becoming more nightly rentals and second and third homes for people. And essentially there's just this huge need for affordable housing here. But yeah, so this is one of 2 homes that we're building in Moab right now. Each home has predetermined homeowners that we're working with who have to also put in 15 hours a week on the job site, so they're part of the build as well. They're working right alongside the interns over there plastering, which is pretty. This with many tourism communities that you see is happening all over the Southwest, just because so many people who run the community and work in the restaurants and the hotels, they just can't afford it anymore.
Is that because of property tax?
No, I mean it's mostly just because the supply and demand, and so what people can pay for property or are willing to pay for property here is so much higher than what most people can actually afford. And there's all sorts of statistics like in Moab they make around $1,000 less per month than the state average, so it's already kind of on the lower income side of things for the locals. But then even I think it was last year there were 54 homes for sale in the summer. 4 of those were under $300,000 and 2 of them were trailers. One home was dilapidated and the other one was just basically like an older home that would need a lot of repairs. So there's just, the market's hard right now, and I don't know if you look around in the community, there's a lot of trailers and manufactured housing, a lot of which was built before 1976 when there were codes for trailers.
Okay.
So really it started as a program to try to replace those older trailers with homes for income qualifying residents of Moab. And then that got combined with trying to build sustainable homes that could, using mostly natural materials, and then also ones that would just have a really low footprint and reduce the cost of energy consumption for homeowners became really important. So the natural building element obviously became tied in. And then the third component that's really unique, besides the sustainability and the affordable housing, is that we have this really interesting model where we're combining it with a student education program. So we allow young professionals who really want to learn about natural building to come be a part of the process. And then that way, we're actually providing an education that normally people are paying thousands of dollars for. Any other workshops or schools or programs that are allowing people to have this kind of experience, anybody who's participating is having to pay a pretty high cost, and it's usually not even as intensive. You might get to do like work on plastering or work on timber framing or something, but the people who are getting to participate in the program are actually getting to go from foundation to finish and see the whole process. So I started as an intern here last spring, so I've been here since February, so I had never really swung a hammer or done anything with construction. And now I'm proud to say, I remodeled my parents' bathroom by myself, and I built a table last weekend just for fun. So it's, I may not go into natural building or build my own home right away, but I feel like I have a widely increased skill set. Yeah, so the home started in 2010, and I believe it was in 2014 we started putting solar on all of the homes. It used to be that we just couldn't afford to put that in with the loan. It was too expensive, but we were able to get our construction costs down enough that we now have been able to do solar now. So they have, as you can see, the solar panels here, and the homeowners tend to pay now around $8 a month, and that's just the cost of what you have to pay to have electricity in this town. It's like the minimum cost, so it's pretty cost effective.
And my understanding from my research is that Strawbale, R value is somewhere between 30 and 50.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how you look at R value, and that's always been this kind of weird semi-scientific, not subjective, but it's very hard to calculate, and it's hard to get an exact concrete calculation. But that range, to my understanding, is pretty correct.
This is Portia, and she lives in a Strawbale house built by the community rebuilds.
Yeah, we built in the fall of 2014. And I went with community rebuilds, partly because of the Strawbale, because it's so efficient, because they use local resources, because the building is more affordable, because they use students that learn as they're building. Also because I got to learn as we were building, and I didn't really know anything about buildings. Now I can fix some things.
And your place is beautiful. Like, your garden is like my heaven of using every inch of space for something beautiful and growing.
Thank you.
This is really something. Too much footage.
Sure.
Okay, so your foundation.
Yeah, so the foundation, we just used like a footing, there's just like a concrete 14 inches wide footing that goes around the entire exterior of the home. And there's slabs in the bathrooms, but that's the only places that we use slab. And then you can see, anywhere that, I don't know if you're able to see on the camera at all, anywhere where there's kind of like that strip going up is where we have a post. So it's not like conventional stick framing in the sense that like every 16 inches there's a stud. And then there's like kind of a big heavy box beam that sits on top of that we then put the trusses on. And then everything's, using like hurricane ties and different bolts and things kind of.
Not a lot of rebar?
We do have rebar in the foundation itself. So, we're just kind of by general construction codes and engineering standards required to have that. But that's really the only place that you'll find rebar in the house. It's just
sticking up out of the footing just a little bit.
It's actually running horizontally within the footing. So there's kind of, you can imagine like a box, just four corners, of rebar that are going through the entire footing, just to give that some structural support. I can find out. I have to see. There's certain things, like obviously we don't make our plans public and things like that, but we do have a curriculum that we use that we share that kind of has some of the more like detailed drawings of how different elements in the home and some kind of more detail. If you guys are interested, I might be able to send you a copy. We have an electronic.
That would be awesome. Or if we could just get the link to it so we could put it on the video so people would go look at it for you.
Yeah. And the other thing that we do that's kind of nice now, we have such a broad alumni network. We've got like something like at the end of this build, it'll be like 180 interns that have come through the program. And a lot of them are still interested in doing natural building and are still around or living all over the country. So I started, I have a form now on the website that if people have their own projects that they're willing to pay for, they need help with, that I can then take that information that they send me and kind of blast out to our alumni network. And I already know of like some people who have gotten jobs from that platform of
that's awesome
sharing projects. And yeah, it's kind of a nice way to support everyone.
Right.
And then it went from doing one build a year to, I think 2012 was the first year we did a home in the spring and a home in the fall. And now we've gotten to the point where we're doing 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And we're looking at moving into like alternative formats. Like, so we've done all of our homes so far have been single family homes like this, but we're looking at maybe moving in to do some like duplexes or townhome style. And we may even be rebuilding our student housing and doing it as doing our student housing as like a Strawbale kind of like apartments, kind of like motel style apartments. So, making. And
you
we're
guys
hoping
getting faster.
We'd really like to have an office building that's a Strawbale home, basically, so that we could. It's hard because we have to like respect our homeowners' privacy once they move in, and you don't want to be bugging them all the time. But people always come to town; they want to see them and want to go inside, and it's just hard. Sometimes you have to like beg the homeowners to be like, "Can we please come to your house?" And they're always like really nice, but at a certain point, you want to just be able to not keep having to bother them. So if we had our own building that we could tour people through and they could see what it's really like inside, that would be really nice.